The Postdoc Academy module on strategic communications provides postdocs with evidence-based frameworks for effective communication of research ideas, guidelines to develop their elevator pitch, as well as examples of postdocs receiving coaching to develop and communicate their pitch. Since the module equips postdocs with strategies to present their research to a wide variety of audiences, this Productive Postdoc Conversation will focus on how mentors can support postdocs to use their elevator pitches to make new connections and network strategically to advance their careers. And if you are a postdoc that has taken the module, you could start by sharing your final pitch with your mentor.
In a study conducted in 2020, Noel et al. Surveyed 100 postdocs from a range of disciplines, from arts to STEM, about their professional development priorities. Postdocs ranked networking as a priority 11 out of 12, pretty low. Now think about some of the career opportunities that you've had to date, or the research collaborations you may have initiated or participated in. How many of them involve leveraging personal connections or communicating research or expertise to someone you just met? How many have required you to develop a connection or build a collaboration?
The study mentioned previously highlights many misconceptions postdocs and mentors alike have about networking. For example, I have heard colleagues mention that they see networking as an interest-oriented activity that requires people to manipulate others to get what they want. Some also see it as an uncomfortable activity, either because they are introverted or because they don't know where to start. Or some see it as unnecessary, that their work and publications will speak for itself.
In fact, our own research studying postdocs that took our first course, not networking was one of their biggest perceived barriers to achieving their career goals. And to be honest, they're right. Networking is vital for those who want to succeed. In academia, networking is critical for efficient research communication, initiating collaborations, and mentoring. Outside of academia, 85% of jobs are filled through networking, and up to 70% of jobs are never published publicly. These jobs are either posted internally or are created specifically for candidates that recruiters and hiring managers meet through networking. According to LinkedIn research, 70% of professionals hired in 2016 had a connection at their company, and 80% of professionals considered networking vital to their career success. Applying strategic communication skills to career transition moments is essential for postdocs and could also help faculty mentors raise the profile of their research.
If you're a postdoc, where do you situate yourself? Is networking a high priority for you? If you're a faculty member, when and how much do you encourage your postdoc mentees to start networking? Do you have networks you could share with them? I would like to encourage you to challenge assumptions you have about networking and to consider networking intentionally. What do I mean by that? In 2017, Raj, Fast, and Fisher conducted a series of 4 studies with hundreds of undergraduate students, where they encouraged them to consider different drivers for networking, like self-interest or their level of extroversion. Regardless of any of the drivers considered, the students who saw networking activities aligned with who they were had the highest intentions to network. It was also easier and pleasant, felt more natural, and increased their motivation to strengthen and expand their network. I made similar observations about myself. I'm quite introverted, and it was initially painful for me to talk with strangers at events or to reach out to people I had barely met on LinkedIn. However, over time, I realized that having a well-maintained network was a good thing to suggest connections to peers and junior colleagues willing to explore career options in and outside of academia. Helping others is one of my main values, so being able to approach potential connections with curiosity and to see networking as a resourceful activity for me and others made things easier and easier for me. What would it look like for you to network with intention? How could you encourage others to network with intention? Feel free to pause the video to reflect on these questions. Now that you have reflected on what networking with intention looks like for you, let's focus on how one can strategically develop their network.
Cram and Higgins describe the 3 dimensions one should consider when developing their network. These could be relevant for postdocs and faculty as they prepare for this conversation. The first one is, who is in your network? And more importantly, who are your developers? A term they use to identify the people who can support you in your career. They identify 4 types of developers. First, the ones who can help you get your work done, by helping you develop skills, for example. Next, the ones who can help you advance your career, maybe because they are well connected or can support promotions and other career transitions. Third, the ones able to provide personal support. And finally, the ones who can be role models. Do you have a clear sense of who is in your network, how diverse it is? If you have a lot of people in one category of development, would you consider expanding your network in other categories?
The second dimension defined by Cram and Higgins is the strength of the relationships one has with people in their network. Some relationships are close. These are with people with whom you have built mutual trust and a common commitment towards goals. Others are further distant, maybe because you don't know them very well or don't get to see them often. Others are somewhere in between, moderately strong, depending on your level and frequency of interaction. The third dimension is access to power. In this case, power can be linked to how well connected some people in your network are, or to the fact that they have a high status and are involved in decision making.
We encourage you to use the worksheet created by Cram and Higgins to help you map out your network, assess its size, diversity, density, and connectedness to people of influence. It is available in the ACT section in the additional resources. Look for gaps, reflect on how those gaps may be limiting your success, and then work together to address them. Also, consider the following prompts. If you are a postdoc, how could you strategically expand your network? If you are a mentor, how could you use this map to help your mentees have greater connection to key nodes in your network? This module will also provide you with an interview of postdoc peers who share what they find meaningful and successful in networking and their strategies to nurture and expand their network. You will have also access to a framework to discuss this topic with your mentor. We encourage you to initiate the conversation with your mentor by setting up a special meeting and sharing your network map. We hope you leave this conversation with concrete ways to strategically expand your network.